there was this notion of especially studying acting that, okay, that's something that you can put on and take off, you know?
So being effeminate is something you can put on and take off. Okay.
In acting schools in Mexico in those years, that I don't care what you do outside of the stage, but on the stage, I need to see a man.
Whoa.
I need to see a woman. I had this thing of, well, non-binary is trans in theory, but the problematizations we're putting on the table and the things we're questioning about teaching, about theater, about art, about voice, and I really had to face myself in that process. And I was like, okay, I think I do need to call myself trans, because I have a lot of experiences that resonate with that journey. And I think that in a way we are all non-binary, because this you know, this copy of the 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 copy of what was masculinity like 100 years ago dissipates and tends to move.
Hi, I'm Renee, and I'm a gender-affirming voice teacher. Today, I'm talking with Sergio Carazo Cardona, a non-binary acting and voice teacher in Mexico City and a designated Linklater teacher.
What is that?
In our interview, we get into what Linklater work is, why Sergio now claims the word trans, and how they navigate Spanish grammar, pronouns, and neutral adjectives in daily life and in the studio. We also talk about gender norms in Mexico City, safety, and the skill of choosing how you sound in different spaces. This interview is a part of a series of interviews with non-binary people on non-binary voices that I recorded for my course, Mix and Match, Designing Your Non-Binary Voice. Check out the interview now.
Hi, Sergio. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, Renee.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so what can I tell you? My name is Sergio. I'm a non-binary person. I use they, them pronouns in English. In Spanish, it gets more complicated, but I surf that out. And, well, I live in Mexico City. I was born here. And I am a Linklater designated teacher. I got my designation on 2023. And I am an acting and voice teacher for theater.
Can you tell me what Linklater is? Because I'm not sure I understand completely, and maybe other people don't as well.
Sure. So Christian Linklater was a Scottish voice teacher. She studied in London and then she moved to New York. So she did all this research about voice. Probably you know this. Oh, I'm sure you know this. We've spoken about this. Like prior to this stream of voice teachers in, you know, like mid 20th century, we had notions of voice that were very like mixed up and very confusing and very not clear. Mm-hmm. So Christine belongs to this stream of teachers that really studied anatomy and linked. I love that she is called Linklater because she links the anatomy with the acting process. I mean, studying voice for actors was very singing based.
Right, of course.
Before, yeah. So that's when we get all these and bel canto based. So we get all these actors speaking like this in the back of the mouths, and you know, like oh. So she develops well, we call it a practice in Spanish, you know, like a method, a voice work technique that focuses on acting and the actor's mindset and art set. So she develops all this imagery to work with voice, with the resonators, with the space in the lungs, with the space in the ribs, and well, it's a pedagogical practice, you know, it's a teaching practice. So what we have to do is we have to go through the progression, that's what she calls it, like the progression of exercises, and a couple of times, and then we get this designation program to become teachers of the practice. So it works for actors, but my speciality, I call it that, I'm thinking in Spanish.
That's okay.
It's teaching the practice, not just doing it, but teaching it. That's the designation for.
Okay, very cool. I want to ask you so many more questions about like your experience being trans and non-binary. Actually, do you use the word trans for yourself or only non-binary?
I do. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. Because I don't know. It's been a journey, like every transition, I guess. Because I had this thing of, well, non-binary is trans in theory, but is it really? And I don't know. It was a couple of years where I was questioning myself. I have a lot of trans binary friends, and I see their struggles. I see their fight, and sometimes it's like, but I don't do that. I don't feel that way. I don't move that way. I don't. So that made me question for a lot of time that is non-binary trans, and then I don't know. I guess I'm back to school. I'm doing a master's in pedagogy and in theater pedagogy, and the problematizations we're putting on the table and the things we're questioning about teaching, about theater, about art, about voice, it really like compressed this year's experience like into a couple of months, and I really had to face myself in that process. And I was like, okay, I think I do need to call myself trans, because I have a lot of experiences that resonate with that journey. So right now it's very important for me to actually name it that way.
Wow. I had the same experience actually. I only called myself non-binary for a long time, because I was like, I don't know if I see my experience reflected in that of binary trans people. So I'm like just saying who I am. I'm not like changing in any particular way. But then I don't know what happened. I was like, I'm trans, whatever. Eventually you do start to see your experience in that of other trans people. Like the more trans people you meet in the world, you know what I mean? That was my
I got into listening ContraPoints.
Oh yeah.
I watched Disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
It was that I rewatched a lot of things that I had there, and I was like, I do echo with those experiences. Not all of them, and not in the same way, of course, but I do echo with them. So yeah.
Well, maybe you could tell me a little bit more about your gender journey. Like, when did you start identifying as non-binary?
When I listened to the term for the first time, I was like, oh, tell me more about it. Like, yeah, I don't know. I moved
How old were you?
genderly. Huh?
How old were you when you first heard that term?
I think I was 30.
And how old are you now?
29, 30. I'm 34, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 34. So yeah, it was very, very close to pre-pandemic, like 2018, 2019, something like that.
Amazing.
I mean, the term was there, but the first time I really listened to it and read about it and spoke to people about it, I was, that's appealing, because like for most of my growing up years, like my high school and college, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, okay, so I'm just very effeminate, and there was this notion of, especially studying acting, that okay, that's something that you can put on and take off, so
being effeminate is something
totally. And for a lot of like gay men, cisgender gay men friends, and cisgender butch friends, women friends, it was very much that the teachers were, and I studied in two schools, so that was like, I can generalize that this was the idea in acting schools in Mexico in those years, that I don't care what you do outside of the stage, but on the stage I need to see a man.
Whoa.
I need to see a woman. And I get it. I mean, there was this concern. I do think it was, in some cases it was pure violence, but in most cases it was they had this concern about how are you going to book a job if you're like that.
Very practical minded in a way.
Yeah. And then it was awful. Well, no, it wasn't awful. But I graduated school. I started doing like my own journey, and 5 years later, the first she was the first one, the first trans woman. I don't know how to say when you go out of school, get out of school, like when you finish. Graduate, yeah. Graduated from my school.
Wow.
And she's a big star right now in Mexican theater. So it's like, you told me that this was a problem, and then you started supporting her. Like,
that's frustrating.
Frustrating, but in a very joyous way, because I work with her right now. Her name is Mel Fuentes. I work with her a lot right now. We're friends. I love her, and I'm so happy to see her journey, because it was like, I'm so glad that some things that happened in my process of studying. I mean, you did have to go through them, but
right,
a whole different way, like in a very different way. You felt you recognized that you were being gender oppressed. I didn't know. It was like, no, well, I have to do this because I want to get jobs when I get out. And 5 years later, when I realized, okay, so there's this thing called gender fluidity, and it's a spectrum, and I start reading a lot about, Butler, Preciado, and all these people. It's like, okay, this makes sense with me. I wish I had known.
I know. Do you feel like the landscape around gender has changed a lot in Mexico in Mexico City, I guess, in the last 5 years, like since you graduated?
Yeah, I do. I do. A lot.
In what ways? I don't know if you can name any, but
I think in many, many ways. I mean, this was just one example, but we have this like the main television chain in Mexico it's very conservative. I mean, the most watched show on the country is called La Rosa de Guadalupe. Guadalupe being the Virgin Guadalupe.
Right.
So she performs miracles for people, and it's like this bunch of weird teenagers that speak very weird, and they get in all sorts of trouble, like being emo and liking Pokemon.
Oh my.
And being lesbians and things like that. And when they are like in deep trouble, they see a white rose and they feel the breeze, and then all the troubles like magically or miraculously sort out.
Because I did hear about this show.
You should watch it. It's so good. Because of the Virgin of Guadalupe, right? So that's our main broadcasting television chain. Last year, that same channel had this like a reality show with famous people, and the winner of that season was Wendy Guevara, who is a trans woman.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, in 5 years, I think like the mindset even of those kinds of corporations has had to change. I mean, not willingly, I think. I do believe it's not willingly, but they had to do it because they had no choice. Because if they didn't, they sink. Yeah.
Right. Got to stay with the times.
Yeah. And that's a symptom of what the times are, So having Mel Fuentes, for example, nominated as Best Actress in like the main theater contests. I don't know how you call this, pageants.
I don't know.
That is the Metropolitan Theater Awards, which is like kind of the Tonys of Mexico, and the ACPT, which are the critics and journalists for theater something. They both nominated her as Best Actress. And there was some comments, and there was some, like transphobia there. But
sure.
It was minimum I mean, well, not minimum, but I expected a lot more. That's what I mean. I thought. I mean, I thought she was going to be there, and they were going to, like, throw paint at her or something like that.
Oh my God. But it wasn't
I really expected that. I really thought something like that could happen, and it didn't.
That's great.
And she was very celebrated, and she was very embraced. So yeah, I do think that the landscape has changed a lot in these 5 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that your pronouns in English are they, them, and that it's complicated in Spanish, but Spanish is your first language, right?
It is.
And do you speak any other languages?
No, just Spanish and English.
Spanish and English. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do in Spanish? What do you use ella, or how do you navigate like the non-binary thing in Spanish?
Okay, I don't know how I navigate it.
That's okay.
No, I mean, when I refer to myself, I very rarely use pronoun. I mean, I use I, which is pronoun, right?
Right, of course.
But I mean, gendered pronouns. So, for example, in Spanish, adjectives have gender and have number, like plurals or singular. So you don't say, when you say she is happy, you can skip the she and you say is happy, but you have to gender it and you have to number it. So you say está contenta.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you get, that's a she. Or está contento, that's a he. Está contente, that's a they.
Mm-hmm.
But we have some adjectives that are neutral. For example, instead of saying está contenta, you can say está feliz.
Feliz, right.
And feliz is the same for every gender. So when I refer to myself, I tend to do that. So when I speak to my students, instead of saying, when I do my plans and my programs, instead of saying el profesor, le profesore, I do la persona docente, the teaching person.
Okay.
In my master's research, the researcher. I do those kinds of things, so that I do not have to set a pronoun, because I prefer it. I have to be honest. I mean, in English, to say they, them to refer to someone whose gender you don't know, it's something that you've been doing for...
It's more normal than people think, right?
Yeah. In Spanish, we had to invent the pronoun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a new pronoun that didn't exist before. So I don't feel comfortable with he. Being friends with lots of women fighting feminists in my life, I don't feel comfortable with calling myself she, because I think that's another set of experiences that I do not have.
Mm-hmm.
And oppressions and violences that I do not live in that way. But ella, it's still, feels still a bit like, okay, I want to do it, but it's so new that my body still doesn't recognize that word as it's referring to myself. So I've been pushing, like, my teachers and some people I work with, like, call me ella. I do need it. It's political, and I do need it, and I need to get used to that, because I haven't been hearing that never, right?
No, it's not popular yet. Yeah, and it sounds like you're finding a way to navigate Spanish in a way that like fully conforms to accepted grammar norms, while still getting your needs met as a non-binary person, which is fascinating. I'm learning Spanish, and I still try from time to time to use the like E at the end of words, like estoy cansada or whatever, or, soy una maestre instead of maestra or maestro. Do you find that people are starting to use that more and more, the E at the end?
Yeah, I think they are. It's curious, because I think that on my day-to-day life, I pretty much cis pass.
Cis pass, oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. People see me and they think, oh yeah, a dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even people that I know are very aware of of non-binarity, of trans identities, of gender dissidence, and the mixture of pronouns that you can use with a person, when they see me, they say él. Unless we are like at the red carpet of Los Metro or something where I am very produced and it's like, amigue, ella, you know. But it's funny how, I mean, at the beginning when I started, you know, like questioning my identity, I used to say, whatever you feel like, whatever you see today, you can call me that. And it was always he. No matter what I did.
Right. Frustrating.
So I started to subtract the options because I was like, yeah, you're respecting what I asked you to do, like do whatever you feel I look like today, but it's always the same. So then this is not contributing to my growth as a person and as an identity. So I started to need to ask for it, right? But still, people now that I have asked for it, now people are taking the option. What am I saying today? And then I call you that. So when I'm in drag, it's like, oh, she. When I'm in, you know, coming out of a class, I since I teach voice, I'm very like sweatpants and things like that.
Right.
So it's like, oh, he. And when I'm going out night, oh, ella, you know. But I had to say, please stop doing this and do this other thing so that people started doing the first one. So it's.
That sounds so complicated, but also relatable.
Yes.
So I want to ask a few questions. I feel like we could talk for hours, and I know we can because we have. But I would like to ask some questions about your voice specifically, and I know you have a really interesting perspective on this. Can you tell me about your current relationship to your voice, and do you feel like it reflects your non-binary identity? And I'd especially love to know, like, do you feel like that changes whether you're speaking English or Spanish or if you're in drag? Because those are all like different modalities of speaking for you, obviously, and teaching too, of course. So tell me about that.
Okay, so part of my voice journey, I think it really shifted with Linklater work, because the name of the book of Christine is Freeing the Natural Voice. So the aim, and there's been a lot of questioning, you know, like within the Linklater community and outside of the Linklater community, but in the voice community, of what is natural voice, you know?
I have so many feelings about the word, and I know.
I know. It was the 60s, and you know, they were hippies. So, but what they mean is an unobstructed voice. You know, like tensions create this. I always do this example. I don't have my when you put coffee to go.
Oh, a to-go cup. Yeah,
a to-go cup. Yeah, I have a metal to-go cup, and so what I do with my students is I put the cup here and I hit it, and it's blim 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 blim, and then I grab it with tension and I hit it. That's what she means when she says natural voice. Like, if your tensions are restraining your voice, then your voice is being held. So the freedom of that is just to liberate the tensions in the larynx, in the tongue, in the activating the soft palate, releasing the jaw, activating, you know, like the spine, so that voice can travel freely.
I love that.
And that's what she talks, that's what she calls natural. And if I have an impulse and I want to cry, I respect that impulse. That's what she calls natural. To not create like a second impulse or a contra impulse that I want to cry but I shouldn't. So all this to say, when I was in school learning voice, I always got the same, you know, notes like, you sound too feminine, you sound too gay, you sound too this, you sound too that. And the only work I noticed, well, no, my singing teacher was very happy with my high notes and things like that also. But the place where I felt I could not think about it was my Linklater class. that's part of why I fell in love with this practice.
It sounds like Linklater was super like gender affirming in a way.
In a way, yeah, I'm doing a research on how to be more gender or trans diverse friendly with our practice. That's my research, and it's very, I mean, the roots of the work are very that, you know. So yeah, and then I felt I had to do something with my voice, and I think when trans identity started to, you know, mingle with my system and moving around and things like that, and I was working with voice, I thought I had to do something to make myself vocally non-binary. And now that I got my designation, I started my master's, I started my research, and I think that my process has shifted from I have to do something to affirm my gender in my voice. I went back to I am a non-binary person. However I speak, it's a non-binary voice. And that's, I think that, and that's due a lot thanks to binary trans people, because I started working with trans women in a couple of plays, and I had to kind of coach vocally the actresses. We started working with non-actresses and then with actresses, and the process was different, but I listened to them, and it was, I have to be vocally female. And I was like, you are vocally female. Even if you are a bass or a tenor or whatever you think you are a woman however you speak. So that is the voice of a woman. And working with my friends, with trans men, I have a couple of friends that have asked for coaching as well. Oh, but I don't know if the hormones have hit right, and I still feel like my female voice is coming out. And I was, your voice is the voice of a man. However it sounds, however high-pitched, however soft, however whatever, it's the voice of a man. So doing the research, I have like this two things going on, and I have like the discussion in my head that I get gender-affirming processes. I do understand why they are, I mean, it's what I'm saying with my pronouns. I had to ask for it, and I had to say, this is political and I need you to do it because I don't feel right if you don't. So I get that part. But at the same part, doing voice work for actors is, how am I going to feel that my deep sounding voice is the voice of a woman if no one else is doing that?
Wow,
so
beautiful.
I need a trans woman on stage. I need a trans woman on the screen to sound like that. And I need my trans women friends and my trans women elder friends to sound like that, to really understand that it's okay to sound like that. That women sound like that as well.
Women sound like everything.
Yeah.
And this is the tightrope that I walk as well. It's like, I if you're a woman, you have a woman's voice, period. But yeah. Also I respect that people want to change parts of themselves to feel better in their body or to feel safer in the street. Like, there's lots of great reasons to do this work, but also you don't have to. And I think even going through the process, like it sounds like the process you're going through, is important to like get to that conclusion, because sometimes you have to try to like even realize you didn't want to make a change in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or as you say, in which spaces do I feel safe doing certain things, right?
Exactly.
So if I'm in the metro, perhaps I won't be like all high pitchy and woo. No? I do need to restrain some parts of myself, and that's going back to Christian's work, to Linklater work. I really have found that that's the freedom. I can open my voice. I can, if I want to cry, do it. I can high pitch and low pitch and move, and I can not do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can restrain myself from doing that because it's not safe, because it's not pleasurable, because I don't like it, because I don't want to, because I don't feel like it right now with you or with her, or no. So I decide to restrain myself, but I have the option to open myself.
Yeah.
So that balance, I think it's what I have found in my voice, what I have found in myself. You know, this relief of not having to perform in a specific way to be me, and the possibility of do things that I think, okay, this is important, or I want to do. I like this. I want to play with my voice in this way, in particular today,
Right.
or in this play, in this show, in this act.
Just like you would with your clothes or your hair or your makeup or anything else.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of seeing you perform in drag a number of times, and and it was wonderful. I just, this isn't really a question. I just wanted to comment on how like incredible you and your co-actor in that production that I saw, Oraculeras, use voice to like create different characters on stage. Like you have a number of moments in your play where like you channel different people and the voice changes completely, and it's really fascinating.
Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to say that. But I do have a question actually about gender norms in Mexico and in Mexico City specifically, because I know that like gender is expressed differently in different places. And it sounds like from what you're telling me that there's like a pretty significant delineation between masculinity and femininity in Mexico City. But I also feel like just having like walked in the streets here, I hear more like variety in, for instance, like men's voices, cis men's voices. I hear a lot of like high nasal cis men's voices that I wouldn't necessarily hear back home in Montreal. And so my question is like, what do you like, how do you think that gender is delineated in Mexico City? Is it similar to the States and Canada? Does it have like certain differences that only appear here? What do you think?
I mean, I would have to go to Canada perhaps to see the difference. But
you're welcome anytime, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I'd love to. But I don't know. I mean, the binary is very set in stone, I think. You know, like it's very hard to navigate or to move through the middles of those like two extremes. I do believe that depending on the region of the country, you have different notions of what masculine or what feminine is. But I'm not, I would say, this is me just thinking out loud, because I haven't really think about this before. I do believe that we have, like, using these terms, gender identity as a binary is set in stone. Culturally, I mean.
Sure.
Gender expression, I think in Mexico, like, historically has been more fluent. Because we have, like, these great divas of the golden age of cinema in Mexico, you know, Maria Felix, Dolores del Rio, Katy Jurado, all these women. And the notion of their womanhood, I wouldn't say their femininity, but their womanhood is to be very strong women, very, with a lot of agency even, you know, and they raise the eyebrow and they look at you up and down, and they have these deep voices, no, like Maria Felix spoke like this all the time, and she was very direct and very firm with her, and she was like our Marilyn Monroe, you know, like
right. And what year would that have been in Mexico?
The 50s and the 60s. So yeah, about the same time. She was considered by some, I don't know how you measure these things, but she was sometimes considered the most beautiful woman in the world, and woman in the world, and things like that. So where you have in the States a Marilyn Monroe playing dumb and whoops, you know, things, and very, very going to her nose and very like this. In Mexico, you heard Maria Felix doing all these things. So I think those kinds of things really shaped what womanhood was about from different perspectives. We have this idea of the strong woman as the head of the house, you know. We also have like one of the biggest ratings in feminicide. So clearly it's not respect for women. It's just like,
no, but it's this is like a reaction to that as well. Like it's like you have to be a strong woman in Mexico, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great analysis. I think, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And by extension, I think that masculinity has played different roles in that scenario. I do think that this idea of womanhood has been like the notion in the middle, and masculinity has constructed itself around that notion.
Wow.
But again, this is me not doing like a serious study. This is just like thinking out loud. So you have the manly man, you know, like the
macho,
ranchero hat and the big boots, and because I have to tame that woman. And you also have this idea of, okay, so strength of character is not necessarily what makes me a man. So you have this more like soft and very approaching kind of guy, you know, with, yeah. So yeah. I mean, I do think that both spectrums are very misogynistic.
Sure. But I have met kind of both types of guy, also, like even in modern Mexico.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
So would you add some other kind of masculinity that you have observed that I haven't?
That's so interesting. Well, I've mostly been hanging out with queer people. And so I feel like a lot of like queer men's identities is like specifically anti-machismo, you know what I mean? Like they're very aware of like the expectations of men in the society, and so they work against it, and that as part of their identity. And I see that a lot, which I don't feel like I see as much in Montreal. Like there isn't quite as much of an expectation of like being macho and paying the bill and being the provider and things like that. Whereas here it's still like very real.
Well, I mean, we have there's an influencer called The Match. I don't know if you've
I haven't heard. Yeah. Don't look it up. Gotcha.
So and he graduated from the same school I studied acting, so it's just it's so embarrassing. But I mean, he's this guy that is going through social media doing this. What's going on with masculinity? We used to be, you know, that kind of warrior mode and those kind of So we do have that counterpart of what you've seen and what you've experienced. We do have this other side saying this is killing masculinity, this is toxic for men, this is so you have Wendy Guevara and you have The Match. So it's that. I think since we are also a very populated country and we are a very big country, so the capital is in the center of the country, and the rest of you have Tampico is close to the US, and it's like kilometers and kilometers and kilometers away from the center of the city, and that is kilometers and kilometers and kilometers away from, let's say, Oaxaca. So so the distance creates also a cultural distance, I do think.
Totally.
Yeah. So I do believe like Mexico City is kind of I wouldn't say an oasis, because that sounds like it's better than the rest of
It's a unique place, let's put it that way.
It's a bubble. I would say that. Yeah. It's a sort of cultural bubble where things happen differently and not.
Like influenced by the outside, but then it's like a haven for every queer person, like comes from the outside to Mexico City. It's fascinating.
Yeah, but as queer people also come all the people that are, you know, in other sets of mood and other sets of mind. And so you have people, you know, like punching, I don't know, we were going out of a play once, and it was this play with trans women, and so we had a lot of queer audience, and we went to have dinner at Casa de Toño, and they hit a trans woman in the street.
Oh my God.
Outside of the restaurant, right there. She was hit because she was a trans woman with a group of queer friends. And when we arrived, that had just happened. So she was screaming, "You hit me! You hit me!" And a lot of people came and defended her.
Good. Great.
So you have the two things going on. Like, people who get this is not right, and people who are doing it.
Wow. That's a
we
lot of
have
tension.
the highest rates of aggression to queer and trans people in the world, but we also have like one of the most progressive agendas, in theory, in paper. So it's that dichotomy. It's very non-binary, because we're going through the motions of, okay, I can get my non-binary ID, but perhaps the places I work in, by noticing that, could fire me. So I can do it, but I shouldn't do it. So it's this place of indeterminism that we
That's
are
fascinating.
experiencing constantly. Yeah.
You really feel that tension living. I mean, I've only lived here for like 4 months, but I have noticed that push and pull between like progressivism and conservatism. It's fascinating and sometimes scary and also great. It's a lot of feelings. Okay, I've got one more question for you,
Sure.
and you can add anything else if you would like after. But what advice would you give to someone who is currently exploring their voice in relation to their non-binary identity?
Explore. That's what I would say. I mean, as we discussed, I do think that however you sound, however you speak, however you voice yourself, it's a manifestation of you. And I think that in a way we are all non-binary, because this this copy of the 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 copy of what was masculinity like 100 years ago dissipates and tends to move. So I don't know what I was saying, but
Explore, because like the codes of masculinity and femininity no longer really matter so much.
yeah, that's I think the point. Your voice. My mentor, my teacher, Tania González Jordan, I invited her to speak with my students once, and she said, "You don't have a voice. You are a voice." So all the possibilities of who you are also in your voice, because it's you. So this idea of I have to do this voice or this no, it's the same voice. It's your voice. You only have a couple of vocal folds. So those two vocal folds can do all of that.
Right.
And all of that, it's contained within you and is what you are. So explore what you can say, explore what you can express what you want to say and explore how you can say and express it, gender-wise and otherwise. Move about yourself and allow yourself to be touched by your own voice. That's what I would say.
That's so beautiful. Well, listen, we could talk for hours more, but we'll leave it here for now. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. If people want to find your acting work, your research, or just find you, where can they? I'm happy to leave links in the description, but tell us where people can find you.
Okay, so all my social media is @Sergio el musical. I'll do that again. @Sergio el musical for Spanish speakers, and for English speakers that would be @Sergio el musical.
I'll put it in the description, so there will be no problem.
Sergio the musical. That's the.
That's nice. Amazing.
If you want to know more about Linklater work, or if you would like to have a session with me, or with whatever, whichever. I'm mixing my language.
No worries.
If you want to know more about Linklater work in Spanish, you can access linklaterlatinoamerica.com, and there you can find all the designated teachers. I'm there. You can make an appointment for coaching or a class or whatever with me in the page if you would like to.
I think I might take a lesson, to be honest. I want to know more. Okay. So thank you so much. We'll leave the recording here for now, but have a great rest of your day, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Sergio for sharing their story and their voice with us. You can find links to their work and projects in the description below.
Click, damn it, click!
If you want more of these non-binary interviews, you can check out the clips I've shared on YouTube or sign up for my course, Mix and Match, Designing Your Non-Binary Voice, where I help you create a voice as unique as your gender. And as always, like, subscribe, and leave a comment for more trans voice education information. That's all for today. I've been Renee, and I hope this helps.
Pretty good. There was one little flip there.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping you didn't notice.
Yeah.
I know. I want to be, though.
It is a mouthful.
Yeah.
That's why I'm always like, let me break up these giant like paragraphs for you, and you're like, no, I'm good.
I am good.
You are good.
All right, let's do it.